Right. Appreciate you giving me a little bit of your time and your busy schedule to talk shit with a northerner, you know what I mean? So appreciate it.
Thank you. No, I'm really excited. It's nice to be on the other end of a podcast. I get
Yeah.
it. I get where you're in, so it's nice to be on this end of it.
Yeah, I think I've only ever done it once, like the other way around, and it freaked me the fuck out. I was like, wait, what am I supposed to do? Like, you're gonna ask me these questions, and because I never plan anything, you know what I mean? I just talk, and we just talk shit, and it goes where it goes.
Do you not have a do you not have a list of questions at all when you speak to people?
No, I'm
Do
not
you
the
know what? I
BBC.
No, I started doing like that, and what I found is that my first ever pod I found was really like robotic, because I felt like you could hear that I had like it felt really structured, and
Yeah,
I was the same as you. My pods are like just like almost like we're going out for a coffee. It's like
yeah,
super
man.
chilled, no structure to it. Like if we derail, then wherever the conversation takes us. So I think it's a good idea to do it like that.
Yeah. I
So just let
mean,
the conversation free flow.
if we went down to Costa Coffee, right, and was like, oh, let's meet up for a coffee, let's talk some shit.
Starbucks, babes. Starbucks.
Oh no.
Not Costa. Come on. Costa's disgusting.
Are you fucking for real? Starbucks. Oh, I like my
Yeah.
coffee beans burnt. You know what I mean? And it's going to cost me
Oh,
like 12 quid.
Costa is spicy. I don't know what they
Oh
put in their
my
coffee.
God. You know what? How
So
do I
when
end this call now?
so when we get a Starbucks,
Right. When we get a
then
coffee,
we yeah.
right? I wouldn't come into it with a list of questions and be like, oh my God, how am I going to grill Bex? You know what I mean? I'm like, no, we're just going to talk some shit. Like,
Love it.
we're going to start joking and then we're going to swing towards like a deeper conversation and then it's going to come back and centralize again. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely. You've done loads of these too. Loads.
there's a few, yeah.
No, there's like you're in the 300s. I was like, fucking hell. Although it's really interesting. I don't know if you saw this in my bio, but your last podcast with Carlos,
Carlos, yeah.
because I do BJJ as a hobby now. So I was familiar with him. Me and my husband do it together. So I was familiar with him because he's incredible at
Mm,
like for what he does. Like the fact that he's blind and has a black belt, like it's insane.
mm.
So when I saw that he was your last guest, I was like, oh shit, this is good. You got some good guests. He's
Yeah, man.
great, right? And I listened to that one actually.
Yeah, he's
What a
mega.
lovely guy. Yeah.
He's so cool. And yeah, this is just an honor just to talk to people, you know what I mean? Like we've all got stories and we've all got a backstory, you know what I mean? And but this just kind of birthed out of I say it's birthed out of desperation. Like but you and me both, we work in the fitness industry and I've coached for a long time and heard a lot of people trying to kill themselves, like come up to me and basically like I'm at death's door and I'm like, what do you mean? Like I see you fucking 6 times a week and you're progressing physically and everything's getting better and like face value, things are progressing, and you're a pretty good human being. And it's like, nah, they're not doing too great. So that I basically birthed it out of that. I was like, how do I help people? And how to talk to more than one person at the same time because I've only got 24 hours in a day, right? And at the time, like I was working like 18 hours, sleeping roughly 4, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like how do I do this? And then
Yeah,
this
yeah,
thing
yeah.
came along and it was like, all right, cool. How do I do that? Well, you need a microphone, you need an RSS feed, and you need to talk. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't know what the first two are, but I know how to talk. So let's just like start talking
Yeah.
shit. And yeah, we're still here.
I think they're great. And have you done any solo pods yet?
Yeah, that's how I started.
Yeah, I really want to do some solo pods. I feel like I talk so much. And then when I did one and I listened to it back and I was like, fucking hell, I just chat so much shit continuously. Like I do want to get those, like I want those to be like tight and I want them to be really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I do want to do some solo ones, but they are really, really good and they help a lot of people. They do. Like loads of people love listening to podcasts. So even if you can take like a really small thing away, if you help one person or whatever that might be, like it's the same reason why I did mine. Went during lockdown when I like I'm really big on my steps and making sure that you just get out and move. But when I was going out for a walk by myself, I really had nothing to listen to. I found it really difficult. Like when I'm listening to music or something like that, like it's a lot easier to go out for a walk, isn't it? But you can get so lost in a podcast and someone else's conversation. But I didn't really find any podcasts that were like super relatable or just like the ones that I enjoyed. And I was like, you know what? Like, why not just make my own?
Mm.
and reach out to those people, and then and that's how like mine all started, and just they're great. I think they're so much fun.
Yeah, I love that, man. It's humble beginnings, and it gives
Yeah,
someone that might feel a little bit lonely. It gives them an opportunity to be part of a conversation,
100%.
and
And people get lost. You see, like Joe Rogan's podcasts that are like 3-4 hours long. I mean, there's some people that I talk to. I'm an hour and a half deep, and I'm like, fuck, I've got to cut this off because I've got to go.
yeah,
But I could speak to that person for a really long time, and I think that's like really cool. And like you say, like we're connecting now. It's fun. Why
yeah, man.
not?
Yeah,
So
cool people.
what do you do then? What do you do for a living? What's your day to day
Oh,
in the gym?
that's a good question, isn't it? Like, the short answer is I don't really know.
Okay.
The long answer is in and out of fitness, like a coach for like 12 years, 8 years in a CrossFit scene,
Hmm.
weightlifting, CrossFit, whatever the fuck it is, right? We do the whole online stuff for very, very small amount of people. Like I don't enjoy the online stuff. I'm
I
not gonna
was
lie.
just about to ask you that. Do you not enjoy, do you
Fucking
enjoy online
hate it.
coach?
No.
Why is that?
Because I'm a people person,
Right.
right?
Okay. Cool. So you're
And
like that, like one to that face to face interaction.
yeah, and I like a group, I like a group of
Okay.
like 12 people, 16 people, 10 people, whatever. I come in and I've planned for an hour and be like, I know how this is going to run. And then someone comes in and throws a curveball at me and rips up my plan in front of my face. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, I got 48 more minutes to figure this out. Like, let's help these people. You know what I mean? And like I
Yeah.
think that's my art form is this weird dynamic thing in a room of trying to make people move and get them like a little bit happier and healthier, you know what I mean? And give them a high five and tell them to go fuck themselves and leave the gym, see you tomorrow. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that to me lights me up. I could do that at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'd be right as rain. But if I sit down and like kind of write an online program, it takes me probably 4 times the length of time than it needs to, just because I fucking hate it. It's the outcome of that I really enjoy. The process of in-person
Yeah.
coaching I love, but the outcome of online coaching I enjoy.
Yeah. I've just really got into online coaching. I do enjoy it. I definitely do. I do enjoy it. But I understand it is quite tedious when you're having to sit and write plans, and especially like it does. Yeah, I'm not the best at writing plans. I'm not, they don't come naturally to me. And I think it's because like I love what you might have seen. I love working with a kettlebell. Like a kettlebell is my bag. Like I could write kettlebell plans like that. And I try and put the majority of my clients on kettlebell plans because it's just so transferable to what I do. Um, but when I have clients that go to the gym and writing gym plans, like yes, I can do them obviously, but like I'm always like, I always get overwhelmed with the amount of exercises because I'm always like, oh, what about if we do this? And I'm like, this is what I'm like when I go to the gym too. I'm like, oh, I'll do this. And I'm like, oh, no, but I'll add this in, I'll add this in, I'll add this in because I just want to do like everything.
Mm,
So I find sometimes writing gym plans, I'm like, oh God, they don't come as naturally to me as like kept writing kettlebell plans.
mm. Well, it's doing whatever you love, at the end of the day.
That's it, isn't it? That's
That's
it.
all it is, man. Like figure that out and then just do more of it, right?
Yeah, and what you're most like you say what you're most passionate about. Like I'm like, and I was heard you speaking to someone the other day. I was listening to another one of your pods, and you were saying about like when you have your niche and stuff like that, like
Mm,
when you find it and you're really passionate, like people are it's the same people that are really passionate about using like TRX or maybe dumbbells in particular or whatever it might be. Like if you have a piece of equipment that you love and it works for you, like run with it.
yeah, do it. Like,
Mm,
do your thing.
yeah,
It could be friggin' Zumba for all I care. Like, I really don't. Like, go do something. I
just
think we
get people
need.
moving.
Yeah, yeah, move around. Swing your arms about. Like, I don't really mind. Like, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Something physical and something mental. Like I think we need both. We need to be able to
100%.
self-suffer in those different places, and that's usually why I write as well. Like I've always got like a little book next to me, and
Yes.
yeah, so I do the whole slanging and banging barbells like an absolute meathead, and then
Hmm.
I cry into a bit of ink and write poetry like whatever you want to call that. So it's kind of like the yin and yang.
Yeah, well, it's whatever what like you say, it's whatever works for you, right? You will
Yeah,
find your
100%.
like your groove and how things make you feel. Like it's whatever works for you.
Mm.
Like do it.
I do have a question though.
Okay, cool. Hit me.
Because you got pole fitness, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So this is something I want to dive into, right?
All right. Yeah.
Because I think from the outside perspective, and usually, unfortunately, this is a male perspective, which makes me want to punch every dude in the face. But anyway, we're here. It's kind of looked down upon, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get that because again, we've just said just move, do whatever. If it builds
Yeah.
your confidence, all right, you feel better in yourself, you're getting fitter and healthier, you're making the social connections. That's 4 wins I've just named off in the past 10 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
go do whatever you want to do at the end of the day. Why do you think it gets a bad rep?
Well, I think this is like, again, it's funny, isn't it? Until you deep dive on a particular niche, like you wouldn't know this from an outsider's perspective at all, but it's really, really big in the pole industry. And I have to be really careful with the way, like, with the way I communicate this. But basically, there's a history to pole, and this is what sparks a lot of conversations is like our sport, or like I certainly class it as a sport, and I really like, my big thing is really pushing pole into the mainstream fitness space. Like it should be a sport, is actually now classed as a pole, sorry, is now classed as a sport in its own right, which is amazing. And it is, have you ever done it? It's fucking hard.
No,
Have you ever
like
even like
I'm.
it's
This is
so hard.
that's another point, man. You look at that, you're like, fucking, look at these ladies. I was like, dude, I can't do that, man. Like, there's
Yeah,
90 kilos
it
of my frame is not being able to do that. I'm sorry.
and if you even like not just you but anyone, like when you try and do it, like people, the first thing people always say to me is they're like, I can't believe how hard it is.
Yeah, fuck
And
you.
it's so, so, so tough, and it requires so much strength. And like basically it should be seen as, well, I see it, it is a form of gymnastics. It's just gymnastics on a vertical pole. That's it. But you can't deny, and like this is where the conversation spark is, where did our sport originate from? And that is where, I think that it's not, that's where it all comes from, isn't it? Because there's still people that like are sex workers, and that is where it did originate from. So there's a lot of people in the industry, that talk very openly about the fact that it should be recognized, and it shouldn't be frowned upon, or it shouldn't be dismissed, because that's where it all started. So within our industry itself, it's a really big thing that's spoken about. But that's where I think that where it is, isn't it? That's where that stigma comes from. And even like people like my dad's age and era, like, or generation, sorry, like he still finds it quite difficult. And I know he did, like when I would put like videos on, social media and stuff like that. Like I
Mm.
think for him, even still, like, for him, when he thinks of pole, it's still connected to, that side of things. But it's definitely moving in the right. Oh, well, this is my personal, like, this is my personal goal, and like what I really want to do. I think it is moving in the fitness direction. I think it's being seen more as an element of fitness.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, that's where it like comes from. And but this is why I call it pole fitness, like, to really, I don't want to detach. And this is where like it sparks loads of conversations, because people say like, you can't just dismiss this side of it. But for me, it is a sport. Like if you were to look at, like, maybe take my Instagram for example, like all the stuff I wear is really sporty. Like I just want to make it, I want it to be seen and showcased as like a sport, like it is.
yeah. Like
It's no different to gymnastics.
that's undoubtable, in my opinion. Like you can't doubt that it's not hard, physically demanding, proprioception, coordination, balance, all this nonsense. Like it's difficult, and I think it's quite strange how people can't partition it
Yeah.
because most sports are partitioned. Football was birthed out of something called mob football. And not a lot of
Right.
people understand this, right? But that was basically a ball which was in a village, an entire village, and you had a couple of days basically to play a game. And if you didn't have the ball, you were allowed to kick the seven bells of shit out of someone else. And that was kind of it.
Yeah.
You just chased a piece of leather. And you're like, well, we don't associate with that anymore, no, do we? Because like things
Yeah.
evolve. Like we take CrossFit, for example, you got the methodology and also the sport, right? they're in two separate categories. And I'm like, yeah, well, if you want to go dance and make some money or like and get thrown ones, great. That so what? Go do your thing. But then there's also like a fitness element to it as well, right? And a sport element to it as well.
Yeah,
And we need to be able
yeah,
to separate the two.
absolutely. And I think it definitely is happening. I feel like it definitely is. You know, last year I was really lucky enough to work with JD and Under Armour in
Mm.
their campaign. So the fact that they even, you know, that's like for me, for the fact that they reached out and they want to use me as a poller, and they used like the pole, like me on the pole in their campaign. And then most recently, a couple of months ago, which for me was huge, was Gymshark reposted one of my videos. So I was like, yes, like that for me was fucking huge.
Yeah.
The fact that these, like, this is exactly where I want to push it. Like these mainstream fitness brands recognizing it as a sport that it is, you know. So I think it's definitely happening, and it's coming, it's building, it's changing. Like I think people's perception of it maybe, but yeah, that's why I want to keep showcasing how much of a sport it is.
I think pretty much anything that allows ladies to build some confidence and some belief in themselves,
Hmm.
and to take themselves out of that shell is a good thing
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
100%. And that's really what I focus on in my studio. Like I know that your podcast in particular are around sort of like mental health and fitness. So there is so many girls that I teach that suffer with mental health.
Yeah.
Like so many. And it's really difficult as well, you know, when I see a lot of students that have scars all over their arms,
Yeah.
legs. You know, it's just it but this is where it's my job to create a really, really safe space. And that's what I have, like, so when I was designing my studio, that was the biggest thing that I had in that sort of like was driving the interior of it. Really was like I wanted it to feel really, really safe. So like my studio is like all LED lit, so like when, you know, there has been studies, hasn't there, like when you work out with low levels of light, like people can immerse themselves more into fitness. Because, you know, for women, we are wearing shorts and a sports bra. Like you can't really do the sporting clothes. So for women to come and undress, and if they're not feeling very confident, you know, to have the lights down low, that like really, really helps. And it's absolutely incredible how all the women that come in and then stay, like they'll always say that, like I have women that turn up and won't want to wear shorts, and that's totally fine, and they'll wear a top, and again, that's we can work around that. But then like a month in, everything starts to get shorter and shorter and shorter, which like not in a sexual way, but you know, like you need skin on the pole to be able to grip. So but it's having that confidence where you see people start to transition from wearing a top to like maybe a bit of a crop top, to then coming in a sports bra, and then turning up in a sports bra and having their tummy out, you know, like it sounds really silly, but those shifts in confidence, and like for us, we do that. That's what we, you know, that's what we achieve, and it's like absolutely incredible, and that's so rewarding. But also like I've got a nice LED sign in my studio that says strong is sexy. And it's really like, I really, really want to help these girls and guys that come in to, you know, help them see their body for what it can do. Like, don't worry about like, you know, your roles or what you look like or your size. Like, look at what you can do if you're performing in a strong way. Like, who cares what your body looks like? Like, being strong is sexy. It's not about being as skinny as possible. And you know, so it's giving that message across to everybody that comes in too. um but yeah, it's amazing to see like people's confidence change like that in itself is like incredible.
Mm. And so is confidence as well, right? That's attractive, and
Right.
and I mean that's like attractive in all senses. I don't
Yeah.
just mean in a sexual sense, right? You just like no, like that human being over there like knows their ability, but also knows
Yeah.
like where they fall short as well. I was like, that's
100%.
badass, man. That is fucking badass.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah,
doesn't
and who
matter who
doesn't
you
want,
are.
no, and like who, I just like that would be the biggest driving factor for me as well, like just to feel confident in my own skin. Like I am a really confident person, so you know, but that has built from, that's definitely come from pole. Because believe it or not, like if you knew me, you would never ever think this, but like 10 years ago when I started pole, I was such an introvert.
Mhm.
Like honestly, being by myself in a situation would be like, I would oh, it just would make me feel like uncomfortable. Like I just wouldn't want to really do it. And like
Mhm.
I nearly didn't start pole because I had to come back by myself. I didn't have any friends to do it. And it got to a point where I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, like if I don't go, I'm not gonna do it. So like that was the best thing I ever did. But you know, it took me a long time because I was like, oh, I don't want to go by myself. And like, you know, I was really just I was quite shy. And I was as a kid too, but yeah, it really does help grow your confidence. And you
Oh
see
yeah.
that, like say, day to day, and it's just incredible because who doesn't want to feel confident in their own skin, right? And just feel good about their body. Like, you know, when you feel good, when you look good, and you know, if you had a good workout or, you know, whatever it might be, like, yeah, I just want to project that on more people. Like, feel good, feel confident, feel sexy in your skin because what you're doing is fucking great.
Mm. I love hearing shit like this because, you know, I like highlighting there is many different ways to be able to achieve this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I've had a lot of CrossFitters on, right, and weightlifters and strong ass people in the
yeah,
traditional sense of I'm going to lift this heavy object, right? And
yeah,
that's kind of like what I like to do. I like to weightlift. But at the end of the day, like we can achieve the same things by doing something slightly different. And that's what I love about the fitness industry. It's this
yeah,
massive umbrella, right? And you're like, no, you do realize like you're building your confidence and you're strong as shit, but you're on a pole. Like I'm
yeah, yeah,
doing the
yeah,
same thing, but I'm lifting a barbell. You know, we're doing the same thing. And I think the quicker we can get to a place where people within this industry can look around at people still in the same industry, but just like miles apart from each other, right? And be like, you
yeah,
know what, that is badass. And then them
yeah,
do the same thing. We need to help each other, right? I think it's the best and the worst industry possible. It's the best because it's not going anywhere, right? Like we're attached to
yeah,
this body. We need the
yeah.
health. You know, it's obviously impacts on the mental health as well, but also it's the worst because we like to shoot ourselves in the foot of just like, nah, fuck the CrossFitters, you know, whatever. Like, oh, people that do go to the gym, pole, whatever. You just kind of toss each other out. You're like, guys, we're doing the same thing. We're all trying to
Yeah,
get
we
the
all have
same
the
thing.
same outcome.
Like, it don't make
Yeah,
no sense.
no, 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 absolutely. But you know, it's yeah, we are all doing the same, and we, you know, it's important. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, you're changing lives, man. You are changing lives, like allowing ladies to walk and gents to walk into a safe space. All right,
Mm,
that's point number one. But then also taking the time and allowing them to develop that confidence, body awareness, and all that. Like that's next level, mate. Like
yeah,
you're
it's
changing lives on a daily basis.
yeah, and it's so good. Like honestly, it does really drive me. It really does, and then especially when I see like my team like just growing and getting stronger week on week, and like that, like I'm a really like over the top instructor. Like I give out, I think we all do, don't we? Like give out so much praise, and I'm so
Yeah,
proud,
yeah.
and like I really try and build something when because I only opened my studio in January, so it's fairly new. So like I really wanted to create like a team, a team culture. Like I really wanted that community element, and like having that, and then like in class it's amazing because people stop and watch each other and everybody claps, and that's the type of environment in a pole studio, that's the type of environment that there is, where like people will just clap each other. There's like people shouting across the room like, yes, like well done, you got it, like quick, get a photo of that, get a video of that, you know. And it's that as well, like I always say to people like video yourself from the start or take photos from the start, because it's amazing like when you look back at yourself, like when I look back at myself now from 2015, like fucking hell, it's like a mass difference. It's amazing to have like that on that side of things, to look back and be like, wow, I've grown, and I've changed so much and developed so much. But not only that, like I encourage people to take photos so much, and I always get the same pushback, and people are like, "Oh no, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to see myself." I'm like, "No, please, like, just take. You don't have to do anything with this photo. You don't have to put it anywhere. Just have it on your phone." And then as soon as they take a photo or a video and they watch it back and they go, "That's me. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing that." Like, because they don't realize their own ability. So when they see themselves doing like, it can be the most basic of moves, but it requires still requires so much. Like you're holding yourself up, you know, and they're so impressed with what they watch back, and it's like then that instant, you can almost see like that instant, you know, change in confidence, which is really nice. And then, you know, they it becomes like taking photos and videos regularly, and like then they're like have a drive to want to improve more. And yeah, it's just really nice. I just love it. It absolutely drives me in particular, and just yeah, one of the reasons why I adore doing it.
Fucking beautiful, man. Like it's so cool to see, man. Like that fires me up. I'm ready to headbutt a wall or something daft. Maybe that's just the man coming out of me. But anyway, I got a
Love
pretty
it.
big question.
Okay.
What does it mean to be woman enough?
Woman enough.
Hmm.
But what like expand on that? What do you
So um something that kind of came up. I can't remember exactly where it was, but basically the question came up: what does it mean to be man enough, right? And this gets thrown around a lot.
ah
But also, I believe there is
yeah.
also two sides to every coin, right? And I don't know what it's like to be a lady, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't know if you can tell, but I ain't one. So it's like, but okay, like I can then digest and have conversations with dudes, right? And trying to figure this out, and ladies, of what it's like to be man enough. But also I want to understand the other side as well, because
Mm.
I think that's necessary to understand both sides. Right. So what does it mean to be woman enough?
Oh my God, I think that's a really, really tough question
Yeah, it's
because
crazy.
yeah, I think that's really, really, really tough. Um, because I think like whatever the answer is, people are gonna disagree.
Well, this is the thing though, right? And this is probably one of the biggest things that I stand for is like everybody's entitled to their own opinion, right?
100%.
And that
Yeah.
doesn't mean like, say for example, we have a different opinion on something, right? That doesn't mean we can't
Hmm.
get on
No, not at all. Yeah, that's what sparks conversation, right?
100%. And that's why I like hearing other people's perceptions on things. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I'm gonna digest that and learn from it. Thank you.
Yeah. So what's your perception on the man up side of thing or the manly side? So what's from
I,
the on the flip, what's your interpretation of that side of thing for a man?
That's a great question, and I'm still coming to my kind of polished conclusion. I've
Mm,
got a couple points of honesty is one.
mm-hmm.
Um, I think being like, I don't want to say an open book because it kind of portrays that I'm just going to tell you everything and give everything to everybody. I was like, no, you also need to be a little bit wary about your energy and what you put in that.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but emotional intelligence, you need to know who
Yeah.
the fuck you are, good, bad, and the ugly. Be
Yeah, that was
prepared.
something
Sorry, what
that
you
was something
say?
that no, that was something I was going to say. Definitely be self-assured as a woman. I
100%.
think it's really important to be like self-assured.
Hmm.
Like I know, like for example, like I know what I deserve,
Hmm.
and and I'm also aware, like even with my husband being in a relationship, like if I wasn't getting what I needed for in whatever sense, like then I need to communicate that, and having, like you say, like being open, being honest, having good communication, trust, all of the but I think to be honest, I think it's the same for men and women,
100%. This is what I'm getting
you
at.
know. But it is, isn't it? Like it's being I think there's nothing like more attractive, but like you say, not in the like just in general, like in terms of being attracted to someone's personality, like when someone's like you're almost drawn into someone, not attractive in the sense of how we say it, but like how
Hmm.
like when you meet someone, you're so drawn in, or you just connect with someone, like you said earlier, when someone's so self-assured or confident, but like you say, like in their ability, what they're about, like for example, I know, like if I was to meet someone, I know what I can offer and what I can bring and who I am. Like I'm really confident in myself. So I think it's important, but this is where I think it's conflicting because not everyone's like that. Like people find confidence really, really difficult. I was having this conversation with my husband yesterday. Like not everybody, like it's really easy for me, for example, to switch on my phone and just record a video like this, face to like, and be like, "Hi everyone, this is my," that I have no trouble with doing that. Um, but for some people that's really, really difficult, really difficult. So it's really easy for us to sit and say like, be self-assured, like, be trusting. But for some people it's so, so hard. So I think this is like a deep question that I think will ponder with me for a little while, for a little while.
Yeah, I
Um,
like I like trying to digest it in real time, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
let's just throw it out there and see what we come out with. And I think there are differences between ladies and dudes, right? But I
yeah,
think a lot of the time there's so much similarities. We're saying confidence, we're saying emotional intelligence, like and all these things, right? And communication. Like that's got nothing to do whether you're a dude or a lady. Like, it's got nothing to do
No.
with it. That's just being a human being at the end of the day.
Exactly. But also, like, when you digest situations, or you look at, like maybe you have friends that their relationships break down, or whatever it might be, friends, family, whoever. A lot of the time, it stems from one of those, like, two things really in particular, whether it's communication or trust.
Mhm.
So if you don't, like you say, it's not about whether you're a man or a woman. It's those elements that are so important, I
Mhm.
think. Like you say, to have open communication and to trust someone and to have that back, like that's really important.
Mm. I think it
Still a
is.
tough question though.
Yeah, I'd love to maybe give it a week and come back and see if we can got something a little bit more. But
Yeah,
I don't know the
yeah.
answers, man. I don't know. I can come
No.
up with a answer for a lot of things, but I also reserve the right to have no opinion on a lot of things. Like, I don't know,
100%.
you
And
know.
everyone's going to be different. Like, someone else is going to give you a different answer to what that means.
Exactly. And that
um
I think that's beautiful though, like being able to hear all these different perceptions on the same thing. Like I think that is really incredible. Like I think that's a privileged position to be in.
oh, for sure. And like you say, I'm also open to being challenged on it. People are going
Fuck
to
yeah.
come in and have say this is what it means to me, because sometimes when people challenge you and you're like, oh yeah, actually, like that's a really good way of how they've interpreted the question. And you're like, oh, I don't think about it like that. I'm always
Yeah.
like that. I'm quite easily swayed too. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good point of view. Like, that's, I changed my mind now. That's what I that's what I think. But yeah,
Mm.
those attributes more than anything, like, I think are really important.
Yeah, I think that's big. Well, I got three quick fire questions, and these are the
Okay.
same. All
Your
right.
questions are really deep.
It's just I'm interested in, like I'm not gonna come in and tell you knock knock jokes. I'm sorry, but I'm not that guy.
No, I like
Um,
it.
question one is what's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
Oh God. The greatest piece of life advice. I actually don't know. Because you put me on the spot, I literally don't know. I honestly,
Sorry.
I can't. It's fine. I literally, I don't know. I'll have a little think. I'm going to throw it back to you though while I think. Like, what's yours?
That's all right. Mine,
Yeah.
um, the only constant in life is change.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I tell you what piece of it that, like, like you have little stuff that sticks with you. People
Mm.
say stuff and people sticks with you. One of them being that time waits for no one.
Mm.
And I really, really do. Like, that's really, like, helped me along the way as well. Like, there's times I've been like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do this, or like, like, no, like, literally, time does not wait for anybody in any
Yeah.
aspect. It just keeps moving forward. So, you know,
100%.
yeah, I don't think it's not like necessarily like a piece of life advice that, like, one piece in particular, but I think it's just like, have, like, for me, I have, like, my husband, for example, will always, like, give me such good advice, and it will help me, like, make decisions, and, like, has helped me now, like, for example, like, when I went to go open my studio, I was like really, like, hesitant about doing it, and he was just like, for what, like, who, why would you not do it? Like, for who? Like, for, for what you're not gonna do it for XYZ. And, like, I think it's really just important to have good people around you to give you good advice,
Mm.
like, to have constant good life advice. Do you know what I mean? To help you
Yep.
make good decisions. um so I'm really grateful for that, but I don't actually have, like, a single piece of advice. I'm really bad. I'm sorry, Alex.
Oh, don't apologize to me. I ain't your mom. You know what I mean? Like you should never apologize to a fucking potty mouth northerner. It's all right.
But yeah, it's not, there's not one piece, but I just think, like, just be you. Be you is probably, that was where I was going with that studio thing. Like, my husband was like, no, you go and own this, you go and dominate, like, this is where you're going, go and be you, and go put your mark on what you love to do.
mm,
So I think, like, that would probably be it. Like, time waits for no one. Go do you. Like, don't give a fuck about anyone else. uh, Within reason,
no, no,
within reason. Like, I say this, but, like, you've got to go do you, for whatever, however you do that. Like, go and chase what you want and go and get it.
yeah, 100%. I agree. What's the worst piece of life advice you ever received?
I don't know. I don't
All
receive
right.
much advice.
My last one's a bit, well, I'd say it's a bit easier, but it's only 3 words. What are the 3 words you'd tell your younger self?
Oh my God, this is so good. Um, Probably it would probably be something now if I was like it's easy for me to say this because I'm now I am a completely different person now, but I would go back and I probably would say something around confidence and being self-assured. Like, I don't know what, but that would be really, I was looking back then, I was so insecure, not, yeah, I was so insecure and, you know, wasn't very confident. So I would go back and have a talking to myself about that. I don't know what 3 words, but it would be something around that for sure.
100%. Becca.
Do you mean like advice that you would give yourself?
Yeah, like my 3 words would be see another side.
I love that.
You know,
You've had a lot of time to think about this.
I'm a poet, innit? Like I spend a lot of time on my own writing. So yeah.
I
But
love it.
Becca, I appreciate your time before it kicks us out. I just want to say
Thank you
thank you.
so much. Thank you. This
Like
has been great. It's been so much fun. Thanks, mate.
you're always welcome for a shit chat, you know what I mean?
Ah, always. Have me back. I love
Thank
it.
you. All right. Sounds
Thank
good,
you so
mate.
much, mate.
Enjoy
See you
your day.
later. And you.
Peace.
Ciao.
Bye everybody.